Alright all, like the title suggests, in today's video I'm going to be giving you what I would recommend if you have $2,000 to build a gaming PC with. Let me roll an intro and I'll be right back to get into that porch list for you. Alright all, if you're new around here and you like this kind of video, make sure you go down and give me a like. If not, give me a dislike button. There's that comment section. I go through them every weekend on my live stream. And don't forget that little subscribe button and notification bell where you're notified next time I put out a video or go live here on YouTube. Alright guys, like I said in the intro, today we're going to be going over a porch list I put together here. This is saying that you got about $2,000 to spend on a gaming computer or workstation computer. And you're wondering what I'd recommend. This is what I'd recommend here at the beginning of 2020. It's through March the 29th of 2020 right now. With these, when you watch this video, the port prices may vary. This is what I'd recommend for the build if you had $2,000. This would be a well-rounded system. It's good for video editing, streaming, gaming. You know, with the $2,000 budget, there's no reason not to go with a 2080 Ti. That way you can have your 4K gaming experience. So let's get into PC Port Picker here, Newegg, and I'd show you what I'd recommend if you had $2,000 to spend on this system today. Alright, here we are on PC Port Picker. And like most of my builds, you know, I use Newegg because I like their sorting feature, and usually the prices is pretty comparable. If you look at some of the prices here, you actually see some of these is low on like B&H instead of Newegg or Amazon. But let's jump into the ports here and see what makes up this system. Okay, we have the AMD Ryzen 7 3700X. It's 8-core, 16-thread. It runs at 3.6 gigahertz stock with a max boost of 4.4 gigahertz. That's what it boosts up to by itself without having to overclock it. 8-core, 16-thread is plenty for streaming apps. It's also plenty for video editing. That's what I edit on. I got the 2700 I run in my system. And I do pretty good with my video editing using the 8-core 16-thread. And right now on Newegg it's going for about $300 right now. That's for the 3700X. Okay, to house it all, I'm going to go with the MSI X570 Pro motherboard. It's running about $160 on Newegg right now. This is a full-size ATX motherboard. Why did I go with the X570 compared to the B450, which you could use a B450 motherboard? But to get a comparable B450 motherboard that has, you know, about the same quality, you'd be spending about the same amount as $160 on it. But the main reason why I went with this is because of the NVMe support for that PCI Express x4 instead of the PCI Express x3 that you'd get on an X470 motherboard or a B450 motherboard. But you could maybe save a few dollars on this if you'd rather have the B450 motherboard. I know you can get some of the cheaper B450 motherboards like Gigabyte DS3H motherboard. I think they're running about $80 or so. But if you're going with a $2,000 budget, you know, I look at the upgradability and being able to get as much performance as you can for your money. That PCI Express x4 is one of the ways you're going to do that. And for RAM for this system, I'm going to stick with 16 gigs. Anything over 16 is kind of overkill. I mean, I run 32 gigs in my system. But even when I'm video editing, when I'm live streaming, I'm still only using 10 to 12 gigs of RAM. So for this build, I went with G.Skill Dripjaws 5. 16 gig, 2 8 gig sticks. That way it puts you in dual channel where you can have the faster speeds because of dual channel. This is a 3600 megahertz speed kit, which everybody knows Ryzen likes fast. Remember, even the Ryzen 3000 series. And it's going for about $77, which is pretty good for 16 gigs at that kind of speed. And for storage for this computer, I went with, for your main boot drive, I went with the Crucial P1 1TB NVMe drive. This is just a regular NVMe drive. It don't take the PCI Express x4 that gives you the fastest speeds possible for the motherboard. But for a $2,000 build and 1 terabyte of NVMe storage is pretty good. 1 terabyte is going to be plenty for your main operating system and your most frequent used games and your programs, like if you're into video editing, you're into streaming, that's where I keep all mine at. I run the 660p in mine with 1 terabyte. I still got plenty of space left over. And this is coming in about $120, which ain't too bad. For your mass storage, I went with the Seagate Barracudas 7200 RPM 2 terabyte hard drive. You could go with a SATA 3 6 gigabyte per second. If you'd like to, you could go with if you want all solid state drive in this system, you could go with a 2.5-inch drive, SATA 3 drive. You get better performance out of it. But for $51, I went with a 2 terabyte hard drive. That way you could have the extra storage space. You're getting 2 terabytes. If you went with a solid state drive, you're looking at maybe a 1 terabyte for the same money. But you would have quicker load times. That's just a couple of options you have. Me, I'd rather go with a 2 terabyte to have the more storage out of it. And when you're loading games and whatnot, you really ain't going to tell much of a difference. And to power this whole system, I went with the EVGA Supernova 650GA. It's 80 plus gold watt rated, 650 watt fully modular power supply. And it even comes with the pretty all black cables, so you don't have to worry about no ketchup and mustard in this build. And for $100 with the way power supply prices is right now, that's a pretty good deal for 650 watts at 80 plus gold rating. And EVGA, they make good dependable power supplies. I've used them for quite a few years now. And to house this whole system, we have the Deepcool Matrix 70 ADD RGB. This is a pretty nice looking case. You got three fans in the front. That's RGB. It comes with an exhaust fan, so it comes pre-installed with 4 fans, which is a pretty good deal. It also has the power supply basement down here that had all the excess cables you don't need. It comes with tempered glass side panels. And by looking at the reviews on this case, it's pretty well rated. It got 4 stars out of 251 reviews. And this would be some kind of case like I'd expect a $2,000 build to be looking at. And for $100, I think it has a good bit to offer for a $100 price tag. And for the graphics card, I mentioned 4K gaming at the beginning of this. I went with the Gigabyte RTX 2080 Ti with 11 gigs of VRAM. Here on Newegg, it's only showing 13 reviews and showing 3 eggs out of 5. But for a $2,000 budget, you should have a 2080 Ti. And right now the prices of graphics cards is slowly creeping up. This is about the cheapest one that I could find to fit into the $2,000 budget. And if you look through the reviews, some of them, a lot of them's noise, or you get a lot of 1 eggs because it was dead on arrival or something like that. And you look at Amazon or B&H and some of them other sites with review systems, it ain't that bad of don't have quite as bad reviews as what it does here on Newegg. When you're looking at computer components, you need to look at more than one site for the reviews and see what people's actually saying to actually make a judgment call on it. But guys, if you contacted me today and say, hey, I got $2,000 to build a gaming PC, what would you recommend? I'd send you this parts list through PC Port Picker, and this is what I'd recommend for you to build. By looking at PC Port Picker here, you're looking at just under $2,000, $1,996. And if you're worried about that 650 watt power supply, not being enough, up here on PC Port Picker, they're only recommending 430 watts for this system, even with a 2080 Ti. And most of the 2080 Ti's, if you look at the specs on them, most of the 2080 Ti's, they recommend about 650 watt power supply. Which, with the way power supply prices is right now, I'd recommend a 650 watt. I mean, that's more than enough power to be able to power the whole system, be able to even power a 2080 Ti. But yeah, guys, if you had $2,000 to spend on a gaming system or a video editing system, or you wanted 14K play, gameplay, the system could handle it for you. if you had that kind of money to spend, this is what I would recommend. You know, I have it saved on the PC Port Picker list. This is what I'd recommend to somebody that came to me with this kind of budget. Leave it in the comments below if you think I'm crazy, if there's other ways you think I could better spend the $2,000. Keep another $2,000 but get this kind of performance out of it. You know, I'd like to hear what you guys think. While you're down there, make sure you hit that like button or that dislike button if you didn't like what you seen here today. I'll go through them comments every weekend on my live show on Saturday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And while you're down there, don't forget that little subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you know next time I go live or I put out a video on YouTube here. And with all that being said, you all have a good day. And I'll see you in the next video or live stream.